and welcome to another Raw Talk session with me, Dolly Indigo Star. Today I talk with author and psychic medium Carol Noonan. We talk about her early awakening and ascension. And this is part 2. Do you think that ETs are among us here on Earth?
I do. And, you know, as starseeds, we are hybrids. And, yeah, absolutely believe they're amongst us. I've often seen things that are not human. So, yeah, I do believe they are amongst us.
Okay, tell me, what have you seen? Because I've seen things. Tell me what you've seen.
Oh, God. Positive or negative?
Either one. I'd prefer positive.
Okay. So, when I was living in Lewisburg, and I was at the beginning of my channeling with them, they woke me up at 4 a.m. in the morning, and I'm not a morning person. I never have been. I like my sleep and I like my bed. And they woke me up and they said, go down to the beach. So I did. And I was like, oh, do I have to? You know, do I have to get up out of my nice warm bed and walk down to the beach? And it was only a minute walk. It wasn't very far. But they said, yes, go down to the beach. So I did. I got up and pulled some tracksuit bottoms on and went down to the beach. And it was a beautiful beach, but I could see them for as far as the eye could see. I could see the ships in my mind's eye, and I could see them. Each one seemed to have a ship of its own, or 2 or 3 of them would have a ship of their own. So that's all I could see. It was just such a beautiful experience. And that's all I could see. I couldn't see anything else for in my vision. So they're very tall, they're very thin, they're blue-eyed, blonde, very typical of the images on the internet. Very angular features. I always get a sense of blue around them, and an immense feeling of love comes in with them. Immense feeling of love comes in with them. Just such a beautiful energy. Such a beautiful energy.
Do they telepathically communicate with you?
Yeah, it is telepathic. They, when I first started to channel them, it was like taking dictation. And given that my childhood was, I always had spirit around, and angels and my guides and my loved ones in spirit, like my granddad. I was used to mediumship. I was used to getting information in my mind's eye. So when they showed up for me, when they appeared, I was very used to working with spirit. So it was just that it wasn't anything new to me. It was just that they weren't spirit, they were Pleiadian. So I was just working at a different level. So it was just like taking dictation, and I actually began to do it on my laptop at first, because I type faster than I can write. So that, and because it was so quick, the information, just downloads of information, you know, I had to type it rather than write it.
Wow. So almost like a conduit, a channel.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes there would be so much information that when it comes in, it's like condensed, and I have to kind of slow it down because their vibration is much higher than ours, and I have to lift my vibration and they have to lower theirs so that we can meet. But the downloads of information it comes in so thick and fast that I could never possibly talk as quickly as I'm getting the information. So, for example, I may receive 500 words and only be able to speak 2 or 3. There seems to be a time difference. I guess you would call it a time difference. And that doesn't happen well, I guess there's different ways that I connect with them. So that's one of the ways I connect with them. But yeah, telepathy, absolutely.
Okay, what other ways do you connect with them?
I step into an altered state. I close my eyes and meditate. There was last year in 2020, I was actually doing a live interview, and they were next to me, which they normally are next to me. And they told me to close my eyes, so I did. And in this live interview, they stepped into me when I closed my eyes rather than being next to me. Now, this was very new to me. I'd not experienced that before with the Pleiadians. I've had it with spirit, but never with the Pleiadians. So that was a beautiful feeling, a beautiful sensation, a beautiful experience where they actually stepped into me and used my voice. And I did that with the interviewer 3 consecutive evenings, and then we had planned to do it again, but it didn't unfold in the way that it was meant to. So yeah, so it's called direct voice channeling.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have to get into some kind of meditative state then? Talk me through that.
Well, I do. I remember when I first started doing readings, I would go and meditate for a couple of hours, and then it gradually it lessened to the point I would meditate for maybe 10 minutes. But I think it's to do with me and my energy, where I like to be sure of what I'm doing, that I'm in the right mind state, and coming from the heart and not the ego. So I like to know what I'm saying is from them. So there are times I do meditate. I don't always meditate these days before I connect with them. Sometimes they'll just step in. Often when I'm doing interviews like this, they will step in and often be around me, and give me downloads of information as well as I'm talking. So sometimes sometimes during interviews, I'm actually just channeling the information. Well, I think it's to do with the training I had as a child, because I didn't have any schooling. I would sit at home and meditate, and I didn't know that's what I was doing. And I started to meditate after that experience with Jesus, the out-of-body experience. And I would just sit on the floor and meditate. I didn't know that's what it was called. I just think I was born this way. I think I'm on mission. I think I'm on target. I think I have a very different perspective and understanding, and I step into different mind states, altered states, very easily, probably because of the trauma, because the trauma opened that door for me. If you're traumatized, you have a release and excess of DMT in the brain, which is a chemical. So it's a chemical process. It comes down to chemicals. It's not woo-woo stuff. So when you have trauma, that releases an excess of DMT in the brain, which causes psychic abilities and psychic awareness. So it's through trauma that the psychic door or the spiritual door is opened, that allows you to step into different mind states very easily and have psychic experiences and mediumship experiences. So there's a huge positive from trauma. That's not to lessen how traumatic it is, but if you can come through that and heal it and overcome it, then there is great and forgive your abusers and forgive yourself, then there is great awareness and opportunity and abilities and awareness and love and forgiveness. There's a lot of qualities that you can bring to the world, when you overcome that to a certain degree. Sorry, I kind of veered off there.
No, interesting. It's okay. I'm interested in listening to you talk.
Yeah.
You know, when you were channeling and you said that, and I asked you about how you got into these meditative states, and you said you did it naturally from a child, and that you'd go into these states and you'd sit there and you'd be doing these meditations naturally without you knowing that you were doing them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these beings, the Pleiadians, who were you seeing at the time? Were you seeing Jesus, or were you seeing Pleiadian star family? What were you seeing at the time?
I wasn't really seeing anything. I was just sitting in the quiet, in the peaceful. I didn't see Jesus again after that for a number of years. And he does step in every now and again at times, and I do work with him in readings, but I didn't sit there talking to the Pleiadians. I didn't sit there talking to Jesus. I just sat there in the silence, in the stillness, not talking to anyone, just because I found it peaceful. It was a world outside my abusers. It was a world outside of the alcoholic. It was a world outside of the not having enough food to eat. It was a world outside the school bullies. It was a world outside my surroundings. I went somewhere else. And I would simply just sit and meditate and be in a total blissful, peaceful state where nothing could harm me, because I was in here somewhere or in here somewhere. And yet I was outside of myself. You know, I wasn't fully in my body.
Are you saying out of body experiences?
I would say yes, out of body, but also in between. You know, when you're in between being asleep and awake. I've got to a point where I'm very good at, so very often that is my meditation. So I will go and lie down, and I will get myself now into a space where I'm in between being asleep and awake, and I'll stay in that space, and I'll get up and I'll come and do an interview, or I'll come and do a workshop where I'm still in that space of I guess being wide open to being able to connect with the Pleiadians or Jesus or light beings or Merlin or whoever it is, my own guides or their guides, and I like that space. I actually love that space of in between, because it's warm and it's gooey, it's soft, it's gentle, it's loving, it's the very opposite of harsh energy, which I've had a lot of from other people as I was growing up. A lot of harsh, negative male energy. So I love that. I love being in that space. I'm really in my element when I'm in that space, when I'm talking or doing a workshop or bringing forward the information. I love it. It's what I'm here to do. And it gives me a buzz. Sometimes I feel like I've done drugs after an interview or a talk or a workshop, because I get so high.
A spiritual high.
Yeah, a spiritual high. And yeah, it does feel like I've taken drugs, and it takes me a couple of hours sometimes just to come down to earth.
Okay, interesting. So when you deliver these workshops, what do you do?
Well, I step into an altered space. That's the first thing I do. And I just open up and I give the information I get, whether it's from the Pleiadians or wherever it comes from. It's mostly the Pleiadians. But I give the information, and I just love doing it so much, Dolly. It just really love doing it. And so that's I mean, I haven't been able to do it since the lockdown, but I've got one coming up actually online on the 27th, 28th of March that I'm really looking forward to. So,
tell us a little bit about that. What's that?
Yeah, so, well, it's a starseed workshop, and I'm going to sit down and do downloads of information, live information I'm going to channel them during the workshop. I'm also going to give previous information and do meditations, and just really going to have a Q&A as well. So there's going to be lots of stuff going on, lots of information, lots of sharing. And
great.
Yeah.
And who is there? Is there you? Is there a group of you? Who's involved?
Well, it's open, so it's me and the Pleiadians, I guess, and people are welcome to come and join if they want to. It's £88 in total, so there's an £11 deposit and a £77 fee. So in total, it's £88, but that's for the 2 days, which is really good. So it's from 11 till 5, I think, on the Saturday, and then the Sunday it's from 11 till 3. But it's just, I'm just so looking forward to it. It's a great place to come and connect if you're a starseed or a light worker or a warrior. And lots of information will be shared there, you know, about who we are, our reality, where we came from, a lot to do with the great awakening of humanity, our true origins, our true history, our true science, about taking our power back, about upgrading ourselves and techniques that we can use to do that, like sound and healing and music and raising our vibration. And I'm really all about helping people to lift up their vibration and put them into a better space, a higher frequency, a higher vibration, and also very much about healing trauma, because I have healed a vast majority of the trauma that I've been through these altered states. That's how I've done it. I remember when my mum passed away a couple of years ago, about 5-6 years ago, I ended up with PTSD, and I didn't know what was wrong with me at the time. I just knew that everything was coming back to me. So I spent some time healing. Once it was actually a healer friend of mine in Galway that said, well, you've got PTSD. And I was like, okay, so what do I do now? So I just healed it, and I healed it within a couple of months. I think that's unusual to be able to do that in a couple of months. So I'm very much about healing and raising people's vibration frequency, whatever they've been through, however traumatic, and lifting them up, and empowerment, because that's what we need to do. That's how we move forward. When we come away from the conditioning and the bullshit, the BS that we're taught and dumbed down and conditioned to believe that we are little Carol or little Dolly or little John or little David, and that we are powerless, because the very opposite is true. And we so need to come away from that, because it is a lie. It is a myth. We have been deceived and lied to on a mass scale about who we are, where we came from, why we're here, and all the little Lizzies, all the negative little Lizzies at the top of the pyramid. Bad actors. What can I say?
Yeah.
You know, we just need to wake up to our own divinity, our own truth, our own, you know, we are God. We are God. We are part of God. We are the ocean, believing that we are the little individual droplets, and we are all connected. And we are just amazing beings. We are not little Carol down the road. You know, we're not little Dolly, or we're not little David. We need to realize and reclaim and wake up to the fact that we are God. We are amazing, beautiful beings, and we don't even come from here. And our history and our science and our technology and big pharma, everything has been turned and twisted and inverted to be the opposite. And yeah, it just makes me so I think angry is the wrong word, or righteous anger. It gives me a lot of righteous anger because I can see the lies for what they are, and the deception, and the smoke screen, the veil that has been put around the earth, that's given us amnesia. We are now waking up and taking back our power. Our DNA is changing. It's shifting back to its original 13 strands of DNA, not 12, 13, which is also connected to the 13 star signs. And the earth is shifting back onto her natural axis. So at the time of Atlantis, what I've been shown is that a large meteor or a large something hit the earth, shook the earth off her natural axis, and the land shifted, causing great catastrophes at the time. And our DNA, this negative ET energy that came in and overthrew the Atlanteans, they genetically altered us, messed with our DNA. So we originally had 13 strands, and now everything is being reversed. So this is the reversal of Atlantis. The earth is shifting back onto her natural axis, and has been for a while, which is why we're seeing things like tsunamis and earthquakes and things like that, because the earth is shifting back onto her natural axis. And this is also proven by pilots where their compasses are out of what they should be. Our DNA, and at the same time our DNA is raising. We are evolving back to the beings we were Atlantis, and yet we're not even doing that. We are going above who we were, where we are expanding above the level we were at Atlantis, because in Atlantis we lived longer, we had a lot more healthy bodies, we were aware, or we were living on a higher frequency, a higher vibration. So our awareness was dumbed down, and a veil of amnesia was put around the earth. So we began to forget who we were, where we came from, and our galactic connection. We became dumbed down and controlled and manipulated, and they've been using us as slaves ever since. And now this period of this window of opportunity that we're in, we are evolving. So everything is connected. And also Antarctica is a huge part of this, because I do believe that Antarctica is covered in ice for a reason, because we are not supposed to see what is there, because it was part of, I believe it was part of Atlantis. And that is going to the ice is going to start to melt. There is a huge amount of information, of knowledge, I think there are some very special sites there that when the ice does melt, that are going to be seen. They're going to be visible. They're going to become visible. I don't know how long it's going to take for the ice to melt, but we are going to discover things that will undeniably change our whole humanity and perspective and the way we look at things. So I think that there is a very sacred site, or sacred sites there, that will be undisputable. We're not going to be able to, people aren't going to be able to deny it. Even people like the greatest skeptics, like Randy, I forget his surname, but he was a big skeptic who died a few years ago, or last year. And I just think we're in for an amazing time.
Okay, we're part of the cosmic journey, along with evolution of the cosmos as well. We're experiencing this all together.
Yeah.
Now, you've talked of the Pleiadians and consciousness and a higher connection. Do you communicate with the Galactic Federation on a whole, on a bigger perspective, or is it just the Pleiadians as part of the Federation?
I probably do, but I don't remember it. So, because I leave my body a lot when I'm on the astral, and I probably do, but I don't remember it yet. So yeah, at the moment it's just the Pleiadians mostly that I connect to. I was told that I also have Lyra, that I'm also Lyrian or Lyrian, and I have seen that in myself sometimes, and I do feel a connection to lion energy and cat people, and so that's something I'm going to start looking into. But you know, my story doesn't end here. Your story doesn't end here. We are in the midst of change and progression and evolving. So things are still unfolding for me. My memories are still unfolding for me. My downloads are still unfolding for me. My writings are still unfolding. So it's not a, we don't really get to a point where that's it and there's no more to discover. So I've come to a point now in my life where I'm realizing I know nothing. I know nothing, and I know so little about what's really out there in the universe, and that even the little that I've been shown, there is so much more to it. So I'm still evolving along with everyone else, where I'm seeing more, experiencing more, having more telepathic experiences, having more experiences on the astral, connecting more with the Pleiadians, being upgraded. Just last year, for example, is a very good example, where we are, it doesn't end. There is no getting there. It's all part of the journey, and it's all expanding. It's an expansive universe where it's always growing. There's always more to discover about ourselves, and I feel that you're very much on that journey as well, Dolly, where there's always more to do. And I think part of being so busy and working our asses off is because we've come in with this higher frequency, this higher vibration, and we're in this window of opportunity where we need to bring forth this energy and share it with others, whether we do it through making films or writing or channeling or art or sound or music or color or healing. There's a million ways to do it. It's all about getting the information out there, however we do it, however we bring it through. And I feel very much that you're part of that.
Absolutely. And we're all part of each other's journey. I always say, make no mistake, there is no such thing as coincidence. And we're all here to learn from each other in some form or way, whichever lesson it may be, teaching or guidance. And yeah, interesting. Carol Noonan, I will thank you for connecting with us for today. And I'm going to leave it closed for there, because I think there's a whole saga for a lot more from you. So thank you so much, and namaste. Thank you.
Thank you, Dolly.